We've all been staring in wonder at the art of the sorcery cards because they are gorgeous, and we know that Sorcery Contested Realm is going to dive deep into the Arthurian legends later on. But where will sorcery go from there? Well, the answer might have been right in front of you this whole time.
So what we've done for this video for you guys is we've tried to sort the different card arts into different themes. So we have different themes that these cards sort of relate to either in name or the art itself. And we're going to go through each of these themes and discuss them and show some examples, and that might point to where we're going next. So we do have some cards that we can't put into a theme because there isn't really anything indicating a specific theme. But most of the cards we were able to group into 8 different themes based on the art, the name, or both. So let's have a look at those right now.
Sorcery have definitely given themselves some wiggle room as to where to go next, because the themes span in time from around 17 BC to 1600 AD. So there's roughly 3,300 years or so to have fun with. But what theme do you think is most evident in the sorcery cards, and where do you hope sorcery will go next? Let us know down in the comment section. As I mentioned earlier, the first theme is around 700 BC, and that is because we think the first theme is really clearly a Babylonian theme. If you look at the card Abundance, you can see in the background there's a very clearly winged bull on a black background, and this is really reminiscent of the Ishtar Gate of the ancient city of Babylon. So the first theme we see in Sorcery Contested Realm is a Babylonian / ancient Middle Eastern theme.
The second theme that we think that we can sort of extract from the cards is a piracy theme. The piracy period spans from around 1650 to 1730, and this was the period where we had a lot of attacks on different ships and regular pirates. One of the cards that clearly illustrates this is Captain Balthazar. He has a really, typical outfit on that looks like a pirate, and his ship and the sails you see look very much like a piracy theme. Other cards that clearly illustrate or belong to this piracy theme would be a cursed albatross. Here you can see there's a cursed albatross in the foreground, but in the background you can really explore the entire inner workings of the ship. So that has definitely more of this, pirate ship theme. But also we have other cards like the ghost ship, which might allude to this famous The Flying Dutchman ship that was a myth in around the 1600th century. So we have a lot of cool piracy stuff, and it would be very cool to see if they are going to expand upon this later on.
Sorcery, being a fantasy game, is of course really rooted in European medieval fantasy. So of course the medieval art is focused on many cards in Sorcery Contested Realm. We have sorted the cards into 2 medieval periods, an early medieval period and a late medieval period.
So representing the early medieval period, we have Critical Strike, one of the arts. Here you see some knights that are very reminiscent of Norman knights, and these were portrayed on the Bayeux Tapestry from 1066 with the Norman invasion. And this is the early period, and we also do have several other small indications around on some of the other cards that there is some sort of early medieval theme.
Featuring the late medieval period, we have the Alpespine pikemen. These pikemen are almost a one-to-one adaptation of the Swiss pikemen, a famous mercenary band that featured many of the later wars in medieval Europe. The Swiss pikemen came from the Swiss cantons, area in Europe that has famously fought for its independence because it was trying to be swallowed out by the Austrian kingdoms a little more to the east of them. Another card indicative of the late medieval period is the card Vanguard Knights, because these knights are featured in full plate armor, and full plate armor only came into existence at the end of the 100 Years' War, and the full plate armor reached its peak around the 15th and 16th century. Having full plate armored knights depicted on a card of Sorcery Contested Realm seems to indicate that some of the inspiration for sorcery also came from the late medieval period.
If you're enjoying this video, please hit that like button and consider smashing the subscribe button as well. We would really appreciate it, and it helps out the channel a ton. Thank you. So I have the good fortune of presenting the Greco-Roman theme to all of you, and that is a theme that is really near and dear to my heart because I am indeed a classical archaeologist, so this is one of my areas that I have studied. It has been a lot of fun sort of trying to figure out which cards belong to this theme. We have a lot of stuff that just sort of, very discreetly hints at it, and then we have some very clear ones. One of the first cards you should notice is the Dacian Phalanx. This is very typical of the Greek city-states hoplite sort of warfare, where they band together in a formation where they hold their shields overlapping so that you can't be hit by arrows or long spears, and then the first couple of rows of this phalanx also pull up their long spears so they can protect themselves. And this is very classical, typical of the Greek period. A lot of the mythological creatures also hark back from either the Greco or Roman civilizations, and one of the things that is very clear to see is the Guile sirens. These sirens was mythological creatures that were trying to lure sailors out into the sea so they could drown them. And the way they did this was by singing a beautiful and enchanting song that sort of drew the sailors near, and that is also what you can see reflected in the card's mechanic. And you can see it on the art by the little siren, on the side, playing a kithara or lyra that was usually used to accompany any sort of singing in the Greek period. And we also have a very famous example of this from Homer's Odyssey, where Odysseus is being thrown out to sea and he tells all his men to pluck their ears with wax and bind him to the mast so he can hear when the singing stops. And this is very, very cool, and it's a great mechanic to see. And these are one of the sets that we're really interested in diving into next. We also have some good examples from the Roman period. We have both the Imperial Road, but also the site that's called the aqueducts. These are some of the Roman constructions that they were famously known for, especially the roads, because they really did a large construction of roads all over their empire to make sure that they could get goods, wares, different sort of tradesmen out, but most certainly also to make sure that the army could go out and spread out to the entire empire to make sure they could maintain their rule.
So that was some of the themes we have found in Sorcery Contested Realm and some of the evidence for them.
Next time in a video, we're going to do a deep dive into the Greco-Roman theme and what Sorcery Contested Realm would look like with cards, mechanics, art, and also the artists we think would be really great to express this period and this theme within Sorcery Contested Realm. Thank you so much for watching, and we really appreciate all our YouTube channel members that are supporting the channel and making sure that we can make more videos like this one.
It has been a blast, and we hope you have had fun watching, and we will see you next time.